Between the two of them. The insider coats. Marshall gets too heavily involved. And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Well, hello and welcome. Good evening to everyone joining us this evening on this live stream brought to you by VRRC, the virtual reality racing club, for the third round of the MSL GT4 eSeries. I'm your commentator, Anthony Jordan. Joining me is Martin Jones. Martin, how are we?
Marvellous, thank you, and nice to have you back, Anthony. Busy weekend, I gather.
It was a busy week last week, yes. Unfortunately, I did miss the second round of the championship. I'm hoping you're going to fill me in on everything that I missed out on.
Well, I have to say, you did miss something. Something special. It didn't disappoint. Second round followed on very nicely from the first, and two winners, Max Roerich and Scott Thorne. Just great racing. Second race, reverse grid, was carnage.
I can imagine Misano is a very tough, twisty little circuit, but we go to a very different style of circuit racing. We've gone from the European style of track to over the pond to the American side, and we've got a track that's most commonly known for having NASCAR go round it, but it's a very peculiar NASCAR circuit in the fact that turn one's actually a right-hand corner, not left. It is, of course, the Watkins Glen circuit, comprising of 11 corners in total. We are running the full configuration layout, so we have got that inner loop and with the tight chicane with the very harsh curbs, and of course running down the chute around the boot. Of course, very fast and long circuit, 5.4 kilometers total, this track, so a very nice sweeping course indeed. Again, a circuit that I've never been to, so it is what it is. Here's a look at the obviously the results of the previous round. As you were saying, race one was won by Maxi Roerich there in the BMW M4, and of course race two as well, Scott Thorne in the GT3. Now of course you had weights been added on the weights that have been put on the car, so that's going to have changed things up a bit. And with a track like Watkins Glen, Martin, it's going to be quite crucial to have the top end speed.
Yeah, this place I think will suit the BMWs. The AMG cars should go well looking at the top speeds that we were seeing, Alex Toft-Jones and the Aston Martin was right up there on speed, but it's kind of agility, this circuit, that really counts.
Yes, I think that's right. Well, there's a look at the championship standings. Dave Marshall heading the table for 10 tenths, 142 points in total, but of course sporting the 100 kilos of ballast. Andreas Rielig as well in the BMW M4 for Adrenaline E Motorsport, 94 points, and very closely followed by his teammate Maximilian Rurig at 92 points. Fourth there, Jack McIntyre, another one of the 10 tenths drivers in the BMW, 87 points, and then fifth overall, Tom O'Farrell in the McLaren, 82 points.
Dave Marshall gave us a lesson in how to win a championship. Okay, we're only 2 rounds into it, but he put 2 third places in, a load of ballast, and he just drove ever so well. It was more a Prost drive than a Senna drive, but yeah, he thinks about it, which I really do admire.
Yes, indeed. Well, out on circuit, you can just see there from the screens, I believe they're still in practice at the moment. Qualifying we are in qualifying, so qualifying has become underway, and as you can see there, got 2 cars in shot, one of them being the MSL driver Alex Toft-Jones in that lovely Aston Martin Vantage GT4. And drivers have got to watch out for track limits, I think, on this course. They are running the penalty system on the sims at home themselves. So any more than, I believe it's 3 wheels off the circuit will result in them getting a warning, and several more warnings will result in, of course, penalties, and that's not what we want around this circuit.
No, it's not. Sadly, Alex's teammate Ross Gunn was in real world duty at Le Mans this weekend and can't be with us, but hopefully we'll have him out next week. Unlucky, he was just so close to a win there, but yeah, it's that's motorsport. This graphic is actually showing the undulations of the circuit quite beautifully. It's really up and down, it's rolling, just difficult with heavy cars to get them stopped. It's a beautiful shot of the McLaren there.
Yes, I can imagine the most difficult one is probably this run that we're going to now. That's the downhill braking into the chute that is turn 6, and it's very easy to outbrake yourself there, especially if you're running the full ballast out on the kart itself, as we head through now towards the toe. Again, a very tricky corner, especially if you're carrying a lot of ballast on the car. The acceleration point here is crucial, otherwise you can get swamped, and I suspect this corner at the start of the race is going to be the one to watch at. So we're on board with Andy Dorman in the McLaren. They're currently in 7th place, 8 tenths off the fastest man out on circuit, which is Maxi Rurig in the BMW M4, 154.758, the fastest time out there. Of course, he is sporting some of that ballast, so in fact he's managing that well around this course. He's doing a fairly good job, I would say.
Oh, and here's Jack McIntyre just topping the charts. That's the belting lap.
Yep, McIntyre with the 154.225 as Andy Dorman deciding to abandon this lap and enter the pit lane.
Maxi Rurig isn't having any of it. He's just gone fastest again.
Yeah, he has indeed. Yeah, very close between those two, actually. The 265 and the 26. 700ths of a second, or 700ths of a second between them.
Oh.
And oh dear,
Whoops.
Maxi Rurig, after sporting a very quick lap.
Dear.
This is not what you want in qualifying, I'd say. So that's a disaster for the drivers and anyone who was on a quick lap there, unfortunately having to slow down to avoid. So that's one way of stopping your opponents from getting in a quick lap just after you. I'm sure we've seen that in many other aspects of motorsport. Won't name any drivers in qualifying at various circuits doing that. Here's Rob Butler in the Mercedes. Mercedes looking fairly strong here at Watkins Glen. They've got a good top end down the long straights. So one to keep an eye on, I would say, is the Mercedes. See Scott Thorne being the fastest off the Mercedes at the moment in 5th place. BMW holding on to that top 3 and 4th. Rob Butler, though, who we're watching, 7th place at the moment. His best time 1 second off the pace, but of course still plenty of time to go. 7 minutes in qualifying, and crucial to get a good run out of that final corner.
Absolutely. It's just all flat from well, there's a few twisty bits, but you really get on it from turn 1 upwards. Looking, Rob Butler's just crept in, splitting the BMWs there. He's gone into 3rd place, 0.4 behind. Yeah, this isn't over yet qualifying. This is very close.
Yeah, so it's still plenty of time for these drivers to get fast laps in as we go on board with Nico Rask in the Porsche. And let's see what time he can do in at the moment. He was fast in Sector 1, struggled massively with a mistake, it looks like, in Sector 2, plus 2 seconds. Cracking livery, probably my actually favourite livery on the circuit. No offence to the MSL liveries, again, they look fantastic, but yeah, this one is very nice indeed. So yeah, definitely a mistake there. 45 seconds off the pace that last lap was, so he stays in P19 at the moment. Here's Dave Marshall, current championship leader, currently running the number 20, in 5th place at the moment, half a second off through Sector 1 straight away. So you can see that struggling with the weight of that car that's on board, and looks like track limits through the chicane as well. Looked like he took a bit more of that exit curb coming out to the outer loop.
Yeah, he did take a chunk out of that. That's it just shows his commitment.
Yeah, I'd say commitment, quite a crucial one on this circuit as they go through. Let's see how he can handle this very tricky uphill late apex turn 7 of the toe in the boot section. We're coming up to the marker for Sector 2. There it is. See, 1.5 seconds off now, so lost another second through that second sector. So even the best can struggle out on this circuit. Again, running a little wide out of turn 8, commonly known as the heel. So the boot, very appropriately named the toe, yeah. The boot and the heel.
Turn 9, that Armco comes very, very close to you because it's literally a left-hand turn.
It is, yes. It's very, very daunting, that one. I know that I've clipped that one in many virtual races that I've done. Through the penultimate corners, very banked, easy to carry a lot of momentum through these corners. Across the start-finish line, crosses the line, stays 5th. With a 1:55.048 is Andy Mellors, currently P12 at the moment in the 21, 1.8 seconds off the pace as he goes through the inner loop. Exits, nice exit there, a little bit too much curb, but gets through, hooking that inside curb. Now that is one of the favourable lines seeing from the drivers, is to hook that inside curb. As I say, it pulls you around slightly.
Yeah, it's looking like a smooth lap, this one. I don't know if he's backed out there.
I'm not sure if he has. We'll see as he goes through. He is fastest in Sector 1. So he's got a good Sector 1 time. Let's see as he breasts this hill. You see there, plus 2 seconds. So drivers struggling in that second sector compared to Jack McIntyre and Maxi Rurik. See what they're doing through that section, but up the hill now into turn 9. It's very easy to brake too early for this corner as well, because you've got you've got gravity against you. You're going uphill, so
there you go.
And there's
prime example on cue.
Yes, on cue. The Ford Mustang going into the barrier, and that is of course championship organizer Rich Hayden. Running a little wide, but across the line here, no improvement though. So here's James West, 21st place at the moment in the Porsches. The Porsches looking like they're struggling around this circuit.
Yeah, they're not enjoying themselves. James Merrill is a very committed young man, and to see him 2.6 seconds off, yeah, that's the car basically. It's not up to this circuit.
Yes, as looking at some of the data that I've got on my screen, the top end that the Porsches are reaching just a little bit less than some of the others. Not much, about half a mile an hour towards a mile an hour. But yeah, as you can see, one of the AMGs getting out the way. There is a look at the speeds that you can see that the cars are doing in terms of top end. Fastest roughly around 149 miles an hour. Most of the drivers reaching that, but across the line.
Yeah, they're a great bit of kit, those Caymans. We had the Team MSL out at Donington at the weekend with Sarah Moore and James Dorlin. Both went very well. James had a second and a third, and Sarah got used to it. A couple of sevenths, and the car is great. What a great series! If ever you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. It's well worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely. So I do mean to get myself down there and have a good watch at them, and see if I can get my bum in a passenger seat. That's what I want. Here's Kenny Press though. He's going through one of the only two Chevrolets that are out on circuit. This one running in 21st place at the moment, exiting the final corner, and that's something you definitely don't want to do in terms of gaining momentum across the start-finish line. And that's it still improves actually, goes up to 20th place. So despite clipping the barrier on the exit, does improve. Now here's a look at some of the cars a little further up the sharp end of the field. Harry Ormerod here, 8th place at the moment, sporting the number 77, 8/10 off, fastest lap out on the circuit. And as he's heading through now the heel, running wide there, so we'll be pinged for track limits. The track limit sensor is very, very sensitive around this circuit. Drivers have to pay very close attention to how many wheels they're putting off the track at one time.
Yeah, top 9, really close. Just a second between them. This is going to be a great race.
It is going to be very close. It's all going to be about who breaks latest into turn 1. I think that's the pinnacle moment for this one. It is very easy again to outbrake yourself going into turn 1. And
talking
again,
of which, here it is.
Yes, yeah. Speaking about it, and
that's a right turn.
Yes, as they exit through, staying within the track limit, so that's good. If you ever seen a NASCAR race as they go here, there is a reason why that tarmac runoff area is there, is because none of the drivers stick to track limits. They all run out wide and then come back on just before they clip the grass up the hill. So running a little wide out of turn number 4 onto the back straight is Harry, and not getting the most out of the track. Going through the inner loop now, hitting those curves a little bit too much. It looked like it was on the grass there as well.
Well, unless Jack McIntyre can pull something out, I think it's a Maxi Roeg pole position.
It is indeed, yeah. Checkered flag has gone out. So Maxi Roeg crosses the line, takes the checkered. It's on provisional pole for the time being, as the rest of the cars are out, 153.973. And as we're following Harry Ormerod here, it was half a second off in sector 2. We're going to crest the hill here and find out, there's a bit of lift off oversteer there, so that's not ideal. And yeah, you can see there 1.5 seconds off the pace then from the pole sitter through sector 2. So that back of that car stepping out has cost a bit there. A lot of the drivers not hitting the apex for that turn 8 corner. Seems to be either maybe they're all slightly running wide, or maybe it's the favourable line.
Yeah, that seems to be the line they're all taking. So there must be something in it.
There seems to be indeed. The rest of the cars have gone past. So at the moment, if Dave Marshall has nothing to respond with, he can't. He crosses the line, stays P6, and Harry is aborting the lap. He's coming into the pit lane. So on the screen, all drivers have taken checkered apart from Mr. West, but that are the results then for qualifying. Maximilian Rohrig, he's going to be starting on the front row, joined alongside by Jack McIntyre, then Rob Butler and Konstantin Kletzer joining for row number 2. Andreas Rillig and Dave Marshall, championship leader, in row 3. 5th and 6th place, and Scott Thorne, winner last time out, starting P7 in the Mercedes AMG. coming on rod as well in 8th place. Alex Toth-Jones in the Aston Martin, starting P9, and Luke Whitehead rounding out the top 10 in the one of the 2 Camaros out there. So a fairly close qualifying at the top. The drivers all within a few tenths of each other. The top 8 separated by less than a second. It should be interesting. And of course the slipstream is going to be a key one here, down the back straight in towards the inner loop, and again, who can break the latest. But I would definitely say it's single file through that inner loop section.
Yeah, definitely. That's the tight section, and you're looking really to get yourself positioned for coming out of turn 11 onto the start finish line. Get a run on somebody going into turn 1. As you said, there is a lot of room, but back limits, I think the sensors are particularly sensitive. Funny enough, they have been.
Right, so hopefully we'll be able to chat to one of our drivers in a moment. But yes, plenty of action left to come up, of course, with the 2 races, the reverse grid that we see as well. So that will be an interesting one to do. If you are watching on the stream, please do get your comments in. I can see them up on the my side screen here. I'm running 2 screens here. I'm very technical, very advanced here. But you can see there Paolo with coming in Go Team Adrenaline, so support for the Adrenaline team. Some drivers spectating on the track as well. But yes, I believe we have got one of our drivers in here, Jack McIntyre. Jack, hopefully you can hear me. P2 out there in the BMW. You must be pleased with that one.
Yeah, not bad. First race with my new sim setup, so yeah, was just hoping to kick things off well. I think I was on for a lap that would have put me pole, but it would have been real close getting back to the pits on fuel, so I played it safe midway through the session, and well, in hindsight I probably should have kept it, but that's the way things go. I was really happy with P2. Hopefully get the lead down into turn 1.
I did see some pictures of your sim rigs looking quite impressive out there, and hopefully it is making a difference in terms of your driving performance.
I think so, yeah. I mean, aside from just being a whole lot more fun to drive on, I think it's going to allow me to be a lot more consistent, which was the thing I think I've struggled with in the past. I was always able to chuck in a fast lap every now and then, but I could never really do it lap after lap like some of the other guys could. So hopefully that'll level the field a little bit, but we shall see. Proof's in the pudding.
Excellent stuff. Martin, do you have any questions for Jack at all? Can Martin even hear us? I'm sure he can. He's thinking of a question at the moment. But yeah, tactics going into turn 1, I think is going to be quite crucial for you on this one, Jack. Of course, track limits you've got to watch out for with that exit curb.
Yeah, I mean it's all going to be on the start, so I'll have to see how I get away. And then, I mean, the outside line is going to be tricky, but it's like you said, you've got to be careful with the track limits, but there's a safe runoff there. So if there's a move on, then it's not too much of a risk to go for it around the outside here. So. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. You can't really plan ahead for these things, but yeah, hopefully be in the lead up the hill.
Well, good stuff. Keep that nose clean, and best of luck for the race.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
A good chat there to Jack McIntyre, starting 2nd place on the grid here at Watkins Glen. And again, it is going to be a tough turn 1. I know from previous races, turn 1 is going to be all about having that inside line, trying not to hit too much of that inside curve as well, because it is fairly raised and can massively unsettle the cars. So as we get ready for the race, qualifying has ended, and here we go for race number 1. All the cars lined up on the grid.
Right, this should be fascinating. Turn 1, as you said.
Yes.
Jack sounded pretty sure of what he was going to do.
Yeah, he has, of course, got that outside line here, and you can see it there. Black and red BMW M4 on the outside. The black and yellow Adrenaline Motorsport, or e-Motorsport, I should say, car on the inside. I suspect you'll see that group dive to the inside as much as possible and as quick as possible as we get going for the race. So, of course, drivers sporting those weight penalties as well. Well, I wouldn't say penalties, but more success ballast is more than anything, as they get lined up, ready to go. Of course, a little bit of weight as drivers getting themselves prepared. Final flick through the settings just to make sure everyone is happy with everything, and that's where I fail in sim racing. It's more of the setup. If it was a real motorsport, I'd be right, mechanics sorted out, and I'll just go out and do the driving. But here, it's all down to the drivers. They set the car up themselves, they get it ready, and that's what makes it fascinating when you see these drivers perform so well.
Yeah, it's the amount of setup is weirdly realistic to the what you can and can't do with the actual cars. I think we've gone to the grid fairly early here. I think they were waiting for national anthems or something as they like.
The Blue Angels flying over.
Well, something like that. Whatever it is in Pixel World. Oh, here we go. The lights are showing on my split screen.
They are indeed, yes.
Oh, here we go.
Illuminate 6 red lights in total. They'll go out, and we'll be racing here for round 3 of Watkins Glen.
Go. Oh,
it is indeed.
Something happened on the line then.
One of the McLarens getting away fairly well, side by side down to the corner. Again, in the background, a little bit of jostling in terms of contact, and a lot of contact there. One of the AMGs taking out the M4. That's Harry Ormerod there, qualified in P8, and there's more contact as well, as we're seeing one of the R8s and the Porsches getting involved, and that's an absolutely abysmal start from the back. I'm seeing crashes popping up left, right and centre on my screen, and that is something you'd expect from NASCAR at turn 1 for a right-hand corner, but not with GT4s.
That was really quite messy, I must admit. I think a few of these drivers will be Control-Alt-Delete there.
I think quicker way of doing it is Alt F4, but yeah, these.
Oh, right, okay.
That just closes everything.
I'm old school. And look who's popped into the lead. Jack McIntyre did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yep, kept his nose clean, gets in front of the Adrenaline E Motorsport car of Maximilian Rurig as they go through.
Yeah, good starts from Dave Marshall, Alex Toft-Jones as well. Yeah, that was. I don't know what was the cause of the carnage, but it certainly sent a huge ripple through the field.
It did indeed. Two side by side in the background, Andreas Rillig and Alex Toft-Jones scrapping away. The two there side by side as they were going up through turn 8 into turn 9. Here looking at third place, Rob Butler in the AMG. That's of course the AMG that I said to keep a very close eye on because it's got a good top speed, but like I say, leading the way, Jack McIntyre. Maximilian Rurig in second place, very close behind, pulling out of the slipstream, trying to look for a move down the inside into turn 1, but thinking against it and staying behind. Now, this comes a crucial part for these two because they could just not overtake each other, stay in the slipstream, work together and try and pull a gap open to the cars behind. Whether we're going to see that, I doubt it, because Max is one of those drivers who wants to get past, and straight away here you can see trying to go round the outside into the inner loop here. Again, not the favourable line, and definitely single file through here, as we said earlier.
Definitely, and there's some. Oh yeah, my screen just put Dave Marshall at the lead there for a second. Rob Butler, something's upsetting, but we can see it on the screen. It's as plain as it is obvious. Yeah, Maxie doesn't like being behind anybody.
No, Max is a driver that definitely likes to be in front, and as you can see here, struggling with Jack McIntyre, who is defending very, very well. We go on board with Rurig. He again looks to the inside. It's a show of force as he goes down, tries to throw the dummy down the inside. Doesn't quite do anything here, clipping that apex, not running out too wide. But watch out for those track limits then on the brakes here. Picking up that late apex here, trying to get on the power and not running too wide as Jack McIntyre does.
You don't want to visit that wall.
No, you really don't, because then you massively compromise your entry speed into these final 2 corners. Jack running a little bit wide there through the penultimate one, and again a good exit run onto the start-finish straight, and again heavy under braking. Jack McIntyre, fastest lap of the race, 1:54.731, as we have got just under 16 minutes left of the race. 2 laps completed on lap 3 now, and that is already a back marker that we're seeing in the distance.
These two haven't broken away. Their squabbling's allowed Rob Butler and not so much Dave Marshall, but Rob Butler to keep with them if they do tangle, which I think will be inevitable as this goes on.
Yeah, I think Rob Butler has just had an absolute disaster. I did see his car fly off the track. It looks like that was a disconnection from the session, with it being so violent in its manner. Huge disaster for Rob Butler, who was looking very, very comfortable out there and splitting the BMWs. So now it's BMW's first to 5th.
That's a real shame. Looks like Alex Toft-Jones has fallen down the order. I don't know what's gone on there.
So he has gone down to P19 at the moment. But that looks like he is there. So is that in P19?
No, I don't think it is. I think he's up there around about 5th or 6th. I may be talking rubbish, but he's there with a Camaro.
And he's there with a BMW as well. That is Andreas Rillig. So I believe he's actually in 6th place still. So I'm not sure what's happening with the timing screen. So for the time being, please do ignore it.
I think we'll have to take them through what we think and what we interpret it to be by vision.
Yes. So I mean, even on my timing screen as well, on here it says Alex Toft-Jones is down in 21st place, so that's definitely not correct. So from far as I can see on my screen, Jack McIntyre still leading the way from Maximilian Rohrig. They are absolutely nose to tail, still just a 10th between them as they go through. Then it's Dave Marshall in 3rd place, Konstantin Katter in that BMW M4, the white one that you can see on the screen. Then it's Andreas Rillig, he's the driver who we're looking at now. And then it is Alex Toft-Jones just behind in 6th place, then Luke Whitehead just behind. So it seems like Alex Toft-Jones is missing from that order. Maybe that's to do with potential track limits, who knows, as we head back to the front of the grid. William Rohrig again, still all over the back of Jack McIntyre. He's not letting him break away, really, is he? Flashing the headlights as well.
Yeah, he's doing all the old tricks. But yeah, McIntyre's just sticking the car where the gap is, which is very, very good. Let's see what happens. Yeah,
he's got a good run here out of turn 7 into the heavy braking zone of turn 8, the heel as it's named. As they go through it again, can't quite do anything there.
Another great bit of defensive driving there.
Yeah, Jack McIntyre defending very well here, holds that inside line, potentially compromising his exit out of the corner. You can see they're running slightly wider than the 2nd place man of Rohrig, but again Rohrig unable to get past, still holding on to that 2nd place spot in the 265 car.
And this is really going to suit Marshall all the way home. All he's got to do is bring it home in that position. If the front 2 tangle, he's there to pick up more points, but he's wary. I think he would have settled for 3rd at the start of this.
Yes, I think a 3rd is a good one in terms of how you start the 2nd race, because of course we've got that overall reverse grid. So maybe that's what Alex Toft-Jones is going for. I mean, on the timing screen it says he's 22nd, but he's definitely in P6. So we'll see how that goes, but side by side on the screens you're looking at the 2 Adrenaline E Motorsport BMWs. Maximilian Rohrig in the top screen, Andreas Rillig in the bottom screen. And again, everyone kind of following in a sort of train here. No one going for moves just as of yet. And you can imagine that's all down to purely because everyone is so close. They're kind of waiting for action at the front, I think.
Yeah, it's a strange one, this, because nobody seems to be wanting to make a move. And we're coming up to halfway, so tyres here, yeah, if the surface reflects the surface that's on there, it is quite hard on tyres. So we'll see what comes of the latter stages.
Yes, so of course, fuel being an issue as well, not having to pit for fuel, but as they go through again, Maximilian Ruhrig furiously flashing those headlights and almost making a mistake. The back of that car stepping out, so he is trying everything to break Jack McIntyre. Jack does again himself run wide in the penultimate corner. They head back onto the start-finish line now. I'm sure there is some very choice words being said within these two different simulators at this time with people running wide. Maximilian Ruhrig now fastest lap of the race, 1:54.337. As we look a little further back, this is Andy Mellors, 9th place, got company of James Merrills in P10 and Andrew Dorman just in front in the McLaren P8. Nice train of 3 cars. Support for James Merrills on the stream as well. So
yeah, James has done well. James has done well to get it up to 10th stroke 11th if Alex hasn't got any penalties. I don't know what's gone on there, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough after the race.
Yes, indeed. Now that looks like Rob Butler in the background as well. Here comes the AMG down the inside defending through that chicane. Look, you've got to respect those curbs on the inside. They are very harsh, and in these very low-slung GT4 cars, it's very, very easy to make a very large mistake. Go on board looking at the front left suspension.
That's a great shot.
It is a very nice shot there. A little bit of damage on the side of that BMW. And again, so you can see flashing of the headlights. The race control will be swiftly on the comms with Max, because technically there is no need to flash the headlights because this is a battle for position, not a lapping car. You can appreciate that. It's a distraction more than anything.
Purely distraction mode. He'll be indicating next.
Yes. Maybe we'll try to throw him off and throw a left-hand indicator as they go through turn 1. But there we go. So 8.5 minutes left on the timer, plus the 1 additional lap.
Yeah, these two have really broken away. And 3 seconds to Dave Marshall. Dave Marshall a second and a bit ahead of Kletzer. Yeah, this is between these two, obviously. Dave Marshall has got his own race for the championship.
Here is Max Edmondson in the bottom side of the screen in that bright yellow Audi R8, battling away with Rich Hayden for 17th place. Rich managing to open that gap, but side by side here at the front again. McIntyre holding that inside line, the defensive line into the inner loop. Nothing that Maximilian Ruhrig can do as they exit again, maybe with a better exit, trying to get the run around the outside. Again, the switchback move here is possible, but again, you do line yourself up for the outside of the corner as you head in towards the downhill section of turn 6, the chute. And again, very, very tricky part of the circuit here. Very easy to make a mistake, but absolutely nose to tail around the outside again. Ruhrig trying to find a way past.
I think Maxi's going to do another half a mile over McIntyre here. I think the mileometer will be. He's certainly exploring all parts of the circuit, trying to make something stick.
And with these two squabbling away, of course, that is allowing Dave Marshall to close that gap. The gap is 3.1 seconds at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that as they go through. And again, almost collecting the back end of McIntyre did Ruhrig. Again, lots of support on the stream for Max as they go through. Of course, a big community of sim racers for the Adrenaline e-motorsport team. Again, McIntyre going defensive, holding that inside line, then switching back to the outside. Of course, rule in real motorsport, as far as I'm concerned, is it's one move off the racing line and then back is what's allowed in terms of defensive.
He's not put a foot wrong so far. That's the commentator's curse, but great defensive driving.
And of course, with these two scrapping away for the lead a little further back as well, they're also scrapping away. Konstantin Kletzer under pressure from Andreas Rillig. Again, the two BMWs holding on there. Alex Toth-Jones in the Aston Martin, again, just behind. Not closing in, side by side though, in the top left-hand corner of your screen. Again, nothing that Rurik can do. Rurik can do. Staying behind McIntyre for the time being. They are keeping me, keeping us entertained. These two at the front, aren't they?
Definitely. This is quality from McIntyre. Maxi's just all over him.
Yeah, the fact that we've not even had really a change, again, commentators go, so I'll knock on wood, which was my head as they head through again. It looking like Rurik with the better exit out of turn 7 in towards turn 8, but just can't get the car alongside. Now that of course could be down to the weight penalties that are on board these cars. I have a quick ganders at the championship standings to see Max in 3rd place at the moment, 93 points. Jack McIntyre, who is sporting a 5-point penalty, of course, but he's in 4th place in the championship. So he's got a little less weight on the car, which could be causing this to be the factor.
Well, McIntyre's just putting his car in the space where Maxi wants to be. It's simple as that.
He is indeed. Again, still nothing between them in terms of lap times. And last lap times around, Jack McIntyre 154.6, 154.7 for Maximilian Rurik. They go through again. Another class, these two breaking away from the main packs. Nothing that Dave Marshall can do. And again, round the outside here, McIntyre holding on to that inside line. This is the closest that Rurik's been. And again, just cannot respond as they go through. It's a circuit that's, of course, it is a clockwise circuit. Most circuits that we would see, most circuits we would see is a clockwise circuit. So it's, as you go through some of these corners, just the car positioning, as you go through here, sporting the trying to think of the word that I'm thinking of here, the overtaking move that I'm thinking of, the switchback. Yes, the switchback move here. It's as you line yourself up, you're on the outside of the next corner again. It doesn't favour the switchback really, this track.
No, the corners are at you very quickly. Oh, he's getting a run here. He's having to dick it back where he was. That's that's that for now.
Yeah, slots back in again. Flash of the headlights in terms of distracting. I think I reckon he's kind of put some tape over the mandatory mirrors that have to be on in the car. I think that's what I would have done. Put some tape over the mirrors. Don't pay attention to what's going on behind you. Crack on, keep your head down, and go for it, because he just can't quite get alongside, can he, Max Rurik?
These GT4 cars have rear-facing cameras rather than mirrors, which is quite interesting. So you're getting a dashboard full of flashlight.
Yes, I can imagine that's quite a nightmare. I'm sure. Have a quick chat with them as oh dear.
What happened there?
That doesn't look right, does it? As they go through, and apparently everyone there has DNF'd. So not sure what's happened there. 2 minutes left on the timer.
It's pick your RV for the race here now.
Yes. Down the inside goes the yellow tent of the Winnebago. No,
yeah.
Kidding.
Oops.
Yes.
I must admit the crowds here are renowned for being rather rowdy at race meetings. So they park their RVs up against the fence. Oh, there you go. That's a good shot of it. And it's party time.
Yeah.
Second only to the noise of Mugello.
Yes, I know full well Mugello. That is a circuit that I have been to in the past, but Yes, indeed. So I don't think those are cars actually going around. I think that was just one of the artistic panning shots that has been set up for the stream. So drama then at the end of race 1, as we've seen. A current look at the standings, the kind of as it stood when we had the drama. Jack McIntyre was still leading the way. Maximilian Rohrig is still in second. Now, again, now it's all jostling around. Not sure what itself is going on. So we shall try and have a look at it. I think we were supposed to talk about it at the start of the stream. We didn't, and we had, of course, one of the MSL drivers, James Merrills, do a hot lap for us for this circuit. I think it would be a good opportunity if we could, in this time, see how that lap went and show you a quick way of getting around this track. So here's a lap from James Merrills in the MSL Motorsport Consultancy Porsche Cayman.
Hi there, I'm James Merrills, driving the number 88 MSL Motorsport Consultancy Porsche Cayman, and I'm back again with another hot lap video. This time we're at Watkins Glen, which is one of my favourite circuits. Like a lot of American circuits, it's a little bit of a roller coaster with lots of quick corners and elevation changes, and it's generally just a really satisfying track to get right. Speaking of elevation changes, the hill right here is really quite steep, so you might notice that I'm letting the car hang on to the gear a little bit longer, just so that we can clear the steepest part of the climb, and that way we can carry as much speed as possible onto the straight. The Porsche Cayman has really tall gear ratios, so straights like this are a really good chance to build up some speed. However, it is also a very light car compared to the others in the GT4 category, so you do have to give it some respect going over bumps and curbs like these. As you can see, if you're too aggressive with it, the car will get a bit cross, but just show it some respect in the rougher sections and you'll get through okay. A funny little trick I used going around that right-hander just there is to put the inside front wheel on that rumble strip. It sort of pulls the car around the corner a little bit more, but you don't actually end up sliding or spinning the wheels. This next right-hander is really important if you're defending. The hill on the exit is so steep that you just have to get the exit of this corner right, or you will be a sitting duck to anyone behind you who is on the attack. As you can probably hear, I'm really stretching this gear out just to pull the car up the hill. You do have to be patient sometimes on hills like these just to make sure that you avoid short shifting too much. Trail braking now then into this next right-hander. Prioritise the exit because you will need to carry the speed up yet another hill. However, this hill is mostly a braking zone, so your braking distance is reduced here, which is handy. Again, prioritise the exit through the hairpin because you can really carry quite a lot of speed through these last two corners at the apex, so you'll want to build up some momentum for this bit. Again, use the curbs to pull the car around a bit and into the last corner. Don't be scared of the wall, carry your speed across the line, and that's a lap of Watkins Glen. I'm James Merrills, driver of the number 88 MSL Motorsport Consultancy Porsche Cayman. Enjoy the race.
but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before I knew. Rewind, take it out of cue. In this
Well then, so quick look from some of the sponsors there, which is good to see. Plenty of equipment and stuff that is possible to have a look at. And of course, as we head through, hopefully race 2 will be getting underway. I'm looking at kind of my side screen and I can see that the man in charge of the server, which is Rich Hayden himself, who's also racing, so as you can imagine, he's while racing there was like, oh no, what's going on, and had to abandon his race to solve the issue. So I can see that they've put it back to a practice session at the moment, and I think they're just trying to get everyone to reconnect to the server. It's always this is one of the challenges that you'd see in sim racing further than real world racing. Of course, this is more of a virtual red flag compared to a real one.
Yeah, I don't like red flags in real world racing. Much prefer this sort of issue. Great graphics of the car park. Just the I could just imagine the carnage and the bottles there. Yeah, Mugello's hilarious. I really enjoyed the Formula 1 race there. That was a great thing, considering that's Ferrari's unofficial test circuit. They are having a very poor year.
Yes, it's been a bit of a disaster in that aspect, hasn't it? Yeah, Mugello itself was a very, very interesting race that we saw out there, which was, I think, a good advert for them to go back, I think, next year. It's never been on the calendar before. It was the first Grand Prix there in the Tuscan Hills. I have been there in the past. I was there for the MotoGP. I went for the year that Valentino Rossi's engine blew up, and I've never heard a whole... Well, there was probably about 140,000 people at the circuit sigh at one time at a motorcycle blowing up.
Yeah, it's incredible. When the race is on and you're driving along the circuit road, or the road the other side of the circuit, and you've got these huge walls there, and you have no idea of the madness that's going on inside until you get in there. And oh my word, the din, the noise, it's just impossible. The MotoGP riders, they do sleep on the circuit in their motorhomes, and how they do it. We'd always stay in Florence just and suck it up with a 45-minute drive in the morning. It was, you didn't want to be on that circuit.
For my trip, it was a long car journey down from Milan. Is how I got there. So I was in Milan at the time, and I thought, oh, let's go down to Mugello for the MotoGP. So we got our tickets. We came down. It was at the Arrabbiata 2 corner. So they've got the 2 Arrabbiata corners at the top end of the circuit, and that is where we saw the Force India, the Racing Point, go off this year around, which caused the red flag at that weekend, of course, tearing that barrier apart, and that's what's caused it, not because of an injury, but more the track was unsafe now to continue while they repaired it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Again, great circuit. And then they're off to Russia.
Sochi, an interesting circuit, Sochi. It's quite an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's Mercedes dominated, and then the rest of the racing's quite interesting between the pack. I just wondering what we've got going on here, but you can see what they're doing, the guys.
Yes, I am watching on the screen. I can see that the drivers are, I think, in the pit lane right now in a practice session, so I think they're just loading it up, making sure all is correct for, of course, race 2. But going to have a quick look at the standings and see if what happened has stuck. So down Watkins Glen. So I can't see any results yet for Watkins Glen, but because the championship is the round itself is still in progress. So with the software that we use, it is unable to see the results for it. So yes, it's so I'm being told in my ear, the man who's miles away from me, that it's going to be a random grid for race 2, so not the reverse grid that we would usually have. And I think that's of course just down to the fact that race results were just unclear from race number 1 from the disconnection. So I think that's a good call from the race direction team of going for a random grid, which I think should spice things up a little bit.
Oh, there's no doubt. It just depends on how random it is. Let's see what they come up with, and let's go racing.
Yeah, of course. With Rich Hayden being the race director, if it was it's a random grid, I'd probably definitely put myself on pole. But we'll see what happens. We'll see when the cars join the grid and the order that they will be in. But yeah, a very interesting situation that we're seeing. A first for the GT4 eSeries, but yeah, it's a difficult one to tell. Lots of marquees there as well, isn't there? I'm sure they're all bars.
They'd definitely be beer tents.
Yeah, well, they're 100% beer tents, aren't they? You'd definitely find me in one of those very swiftly, I think, if I was at a race meeting. But yeah, especially with the nice weather that you would expect here at Watkins Glen. But yeah, it's again a lovely facility, lovely circuit, and I do hope one day that I will get myself there at one point.
Yeah, I think the last F1 GP was 1980. I think Alan Jones and the Williams won it, and then a few months after that, it was closed for safety, the rowdiness of the crowds, and a debt to the Formula One teams, which they wouldn't pay. So that was the end of it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting circuit in terms of those sort of things, and of course all little changes come to it now and then. Of course, they had the introduction of the safer barriers that went out in some of these corners, because, you know, looking at some of these shots, there isn't a lot of runoff in some of these corners, is there?
No, there's not. And the taller barriers you see are for the open wheel cars when they had Indy there, because they've learnt a lot from tethering and things like that of the wheels. But yeah, high speed, close, you know, a tight circuit. What was open wheel racing then, there was a lot of incidents.
Yes, I can imagine, especially with IndyCar, you do see a lot of incidents with the open wheels as they go through, and they happen so quickly, it's hard to react to them, isn't it? Oh,
for sure. And NASCAR, that's great fun around here, and it does get a great, huge crowd. Oh, funny enough,
Yeah.
Rich Hayden's put himself on pole. That's
Good evening, everybody.
And, there he is.
I have to apologise. We have had a major server malfunction, and everybody got kicked out of the server. So I have had to restart the server. Everybody's going to rejoined. We're going to run one race with a random grid, and it is a coincidence that I am on pole. But do not worry. Do not worry. I will be getting out of the way for the fast guys coming through.
The word was random.
Well, it'll be curious to see, of course, where the front two are. So Maximilian Rurik, it was starting in 9th place in this one, but then of course it was I'm trying to think of McIntyre. That was it. McIntyre. Yes, Jack Mack. Yes, where is he starting? I'm trying to look for him on the screen in front of me. I think, yeah, 21st to 22nd, so that's a disaster for Jack. Of course, he's going to have to try and absolutely battle through this field, but as you say, a quick response from the team at VRRC to organise and get the next race underway, despite the fact that been put on pole.
As I said, do not worry, I will be getting out of the way quickly. So we're at 2 minutes now to race start. So I thought I'd just pop in and explain what the problem was. So massive apologies, but unfortunately we do have technical issues from time to time, and this is one of those. So we've had to deal with it as best we can. I'm going to leave you guys to it now and get back to the grid.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much. That was Rich Hayden there, the series organizer, in the Mustang that you can see on the screen. Again, he says it's random, but very conveniently he's on pole. I'm sure it is random. It's just yeah, it has happened. So as you can see there, the 21-minute race. I think it's a 1 minute timer that they'll have on the grid when it starts, plus the one additional lap. But hopefully we'll get the second race underway in just a moment, which I think is going to actually start in about 1 minute's time. So, as you see, field lined up ready, and we'll get this second race underway. Looking at the conditions that we've got here at the circuit, 26 degrees is the ambient air temperature. Track temp, 37 degrees. That's very warm for a track temp.
Yeah, it's interesting. My random grid's just got more random. It seems to have changed again. You got Maxi Rohrig in second place now, behind Rich Hayden, starting. So I must admit, if I was McIntyre, I wouldn't be happy.
Well, looking at the order, it looks like it is a McLaren on the front row, but I can't be mistaken. There you go, yeah.
Oh,
Carroll.
it's oh, there we go. It's changed again. Right. Okay. Here we go.
Race 2 then.
6. Let's go.
It is. Green lights out. Away we go again. A little bit of carnage at the background as we head through into turn 1. Rich Hayden slotting straight away into second place behind Mercedes, or the McLaren I should say, as they go through. Andy Carroll leading the way. Rest of the field a lot cleaner this time around, but still 3 wide in that mid-pack as we go up the hill towards the back straight. Turns 2, 3 and 4 now. Very fast and very easy to be 3 wide through here. They got it wrong first time around, but no such start this time.
Jack McIntyre has made a stonking red mist start there. He's up to 15th already, and I don't blame him.
No, oh, and there's a spin there.
That's messy.
No, so the M-Bod R8 falling down the order. That's a disaster there in the mid-pack.
And that's put Jack McIntyre up into 8th. Now watch him go.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see how this is. Where is Maximilian Ruhrig out there at the moment? Up into P5. So the two that were nose to tail for the majority of race 1 before the disconnection. Carroll leading the way from Hayden. Then it's Rillig, who we're looking at now on the top left screen. Omrod in 4th place, looking to capitalise on this. And Rillig all over the back of Hayden. They go through into the final complex of corners at the end of lap 1 of race 2. Again, Maximilian Ruhrig there running slightly wide through that penultimate corner. McIntyre wanting to get past Kletzer, I assume ASAP. You can see he's all the way back there. Pack of 5 breaking away. Down the inside goes Rillig at turn 1. Can't quite get it done. Still side by side, but yeah, better exit out the final corner. And Omrod's going to follow as well, who's had a much better start from race 1.
Yeah, well done, Harry. Nice one. And yeah, McIntyre's got stuck behind Kletzer.
Yes, he has. So you can see that pack a little further behind. So pack of 5 here at the front, lying away. But Andy Carroll in the McLaren, good start, holding on to that from the front row of the grid.
Dave Marshall keeping his nose clean doing what he does. He was on for good points again in that last race. Yeah, it's a shame, but there you go. It's the same for everybody.
This is looking backwards from second place man Andreas Rillig, and you can see there side by side Hayden and Rurik. Rurik moving up into fourth place though. Here's a little further back, James Merrills, P13 for him at the moment in that Porsche. Number 88, he's got Tomo Farrell very close behind, and Mellors in front as well. As they go through into the boot, a dive down the inside from the McLaren, trying to get on the power as soon as they possibly can. A bit of side-by-side contact as they go through. Still side-by-side, it's going to be who breaks latest in towards the heel at turn 8. And it looks like that's signed, sealed and done. So
yeah, you've got Jack McIntyre. He's just taken Kletzer. Dave Marsh is right behind Kletzer now. There's a real gaggle there. Oh, well, they've dragged each other wide there. You tend to see that happen if you're following a car. He goes wide, you tend to follow him.
it is true, yes, it does happen. Fastest lap of the race, 156.8 for Jack McIntyre, 155.8 actually now from Jack McIntyre. So it was Max Rohrig who crossed the line faster. This pack of 5 here, Andy Meller's been pushed aside now. 3 BMWs coming through. So Rillig leading the way from Omrod. Then it's Carroll still holding on to 3rd place. Rohrig though on the inside line here for the chicane. Side by side though at the front. Omrod takes the lead. Can he hold that lead as they go through the chicane? No, he can't. So slots back into 2nd place. Of course, with these guys battling, that's going to allow McIntyre to close in on this pack if they keep scrapping away, but he has got a bit of time to close up to them as they go through. Rillig leading from Omrod, then Rurik, then Carroll, Hayden, then McIntyre, Kletzer, then Marshall, Dorman and Rask rounding out the top 10. Keeping an eye on these BMWs as they go through. Again, flashing the headlights is Rurik, trying to get past Omrod. Omrod going defensive. That may sacrifice his exit out of turn 8. Up the hill, trying to get the switchback. Not quite this time around. As they go through again, holding onto that train. Down the inside goes McIntyre on Hayden. Yeah, good spot there out of the turn 9, takes another position.
Yeah, and he's got plenty of time and he can see them. That's the important thing. He's just got to dispatch Andy Carroll in a fairly quick sort of way now, within a half a lap, and then he knows what he's got to do. These 3 are holding each other up.
Yep, Omrod holding that inside line. Rurik trying to go round the outside, run slightly wide. Will pick up track limits warning for that and slots back behind. Hayden goes wide as well, gets out of the way of Kletzer and Marshall as they head through now, moving up into 6th and 7th place. Marshall again, the teammate of McIntyre, trying to get past again as Omrod goes defensive down the inside here for the inner loop. Rurik trying to go round the outside here again, looking further back. Marshall round the outside to the inner loop, gets that job done, nicely timed and nicely executed.
Yeah, super move that. Sadly, Alex Tuff Jones is out with a technical issue. That was a bit of a nightmare day for him.
Yes, that is very suboptimal, I would say, as they're going through again.
McIntyre has cleared Carroll, so watch this. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, with these 2 scrapping here.
Oh, here he is already.
Yep. Rurik though on the outside moves into 2nd place on the straight. Can he hold it round this final corner, going the long way round? Carroll goes wide again. The warning will come out. He's got the inside line here.
The track limit beeper will be going off in his ear like crazy.
Yes, I suspect he's had quite a few of those track limits. I know you only get a couple of chances and then it's a penalty, but for the time being, without knowing if he has received one, He moves up into second place now, hunting down his teammate for the lead, who has managed to pull a gap of 1.4 seconds for the time being. McIntyre, though, still in fourth. You could just see him there in the background behind Umrod. But it's BMW 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's a little further back. Paul Lamery, as he's in P10 at the moment. Konstantin Kletzer going down the order. Not sure what's happening there. He's on board with McIntyre on the roof cam, closing in on Umrod, who I suspect is not going to want to let Rurik get away so easily with his antics through the boot section. As they go through this fast sweeping right-hander, clipping up that late apex.
What a fantastic angle that was.
It was a very nice angle of how the drivers go through. Here is James Merrills, the number 88 MSL Porsche Cayman. As it goes through.
You always get 100% out of James on and off the track. Super lad, and quick in a car, and dedicated to what he wants to do.
They're having a little look down the inside as well on Andy Mellors. Couldn't quite get anything done that time around. But again, pushing that Porsche to the best it's got around this 5.4 kilometre long Watkins Glen circuit. Up the hill now of turn 7, through the toe, down the straight, and towards again, very tricky braking zone. Very easy to get this corner wrong. It's a very inviting corner, and all of a sudden it tightens on you and then goes uphill.
Yeah, it's I'm just looking. Jack McIntyre is looking all over the back of Ormerod now. This is not over. It's halfway.
Yes, indeed, halfway through the race then. 10 minutes remaining plus the one additional lap. The drivers head through, so Rillig leading from Rurik. Then Ormerod holding off McIntyre for the time being. Fastest laps coming in. A lot of purple times coming in that mid-pack. But you can see there, McIntyre wanting to close in. It'll be curious to talk to some of these drivers after the race to actually see from their point of view what happened, because of course it always looks different on someone else's, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, how's your German?
Well, yeah, that is one of the questions, isn't it? I'm not 100% on my German. Look at this little gaggle that we've got here. Merrill's down the inside of John Cole.
Oh, he's loving it, absolutely loving it. Good move.
Yeah, the two teammates though further back.
That's messy.
Yeah, a couple of the cars. See, that's those curbs. You've got to avoid those curbs. There's Max Edmondson there, finding out how hard that barrier is. Same with Scott Thorne, who won last week out. This time around, not having so much luck, having 2 incidents in this race.
Oh, that's a great move. See if he can make it stick. Now he's been hung out to dry, but he's got it. Oh, he's showing he's got it. Yeah, great move.
McIntyre then showing his skill round the outside of turn number 9, demoting Ormerod down into P4. Now McIntyre, with 8.5 minutes remaining, going to want to put his head down now and try and close up onto the front two, Rillig and Rurik, who are absolutely nose to tail again going into turn 1.
He'll be rocking in his Recaro seat here, I tell you, Jack McIntyre.
Yes, really is going to be an absolute challenge for these two. Now, are the teammates going to work together? Are they going to slow each other down? Team orders come into play, or are they going to squabble? And so it looks like they're going to squabble.
No, they're squabbling. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? They're both racers, both like to win. And again, this is allowing McIntyre to get. He's pulled back a second on that lap.
Yes, indeed, as they head through again the fast sweeping outer loop that is turn 5. Down the chute. Again, very tricky braking zone. Again, McIntyre breaking away from Ormerod. He wants to close in on these two now. If we have a three-way scrap for the lead, that's what I want going into these last 7 minutes. 100% is what I want to see. So as they go through, 1 second is the gap from McIntyre to Rurik. We'll keep an eye on that as they go through into the braking zone again. Looks like Rurik has slightly come away from Rillig. After really running wide there, I'm sure right back on the tail again through turn 9. In the very tricky corner, we've seen mistakes from drivers here as we almost see McIntyre clipping that outside barrier. As soon as I say it, we almost see it.
Yeah, that's a good corner to call, that one. Right, here we go. This is going to be onto the main straight. Oh, he's not quite close enough. He's close, but not quite enough. Might send it, though. No.
No move this time around then for Rurik. Stays behind, gap 0.3 of a second. McIntyre still in that 1 second buffer. Can't quite close up on these two just yet, but of course he's got the lighter weight car out there in terms of the success ballast. But out of the slipstream comes Rurik on his teammate Rillig. Switches to the inside, slots back behind. Rillig not defending, going into the inner loop, but can't get past. So Rurik stays behind in second place. Marcel on the stream. My good sim racing friends. So again, support coming out on the stream. Do keep it coming in. I'll try and read out your comments as best as possible. But 5.5 minutes left on the race, plus the one additional lap. That gap now to McIntyre and Rurik, half a second.
Yeah, he wants this.
I suspect so after the first race. And it was a bit of a disaster, of course, with the disconnection, but quickly sorted out by the team. And these drivers again underway. 5 minutes left on the clock. And that gap, again, 0.6 of a second, closing in. As Rurik and Rillig, the two teammates, but still scrapping. Through the penultimate corner. Again, very cambered corner. McIntyre going very wide there.
Yeah, he was watching Rillig, and again, I keep saying that you see that a lot. Somebody runs wide and you're running close behind them. You cannot help but go with them.
No, it is one
really,
of those
really weird.
Well. Yeah. Rurik flashing his teammates with headlights, not with anything else. Keep it clean. And that actually distracts him as well. Rillig running wide. Side by side now. Down the inside goes Rurik. And that is not what McIntyre wants to see just yet. Because he wants to be, I think, a little bit closer to try and capitalise and potentially make a move himself. The gap still fluctuating between half a second. Goes down the inside here again. A little further back. Got the Porsche and the AMG absolutely side by side. Rask moving down into 12th place. Mellor's now moving up to 12th place, and that's allowing James Merrills to close up on these two as well. So scraps at the front and in the mid-pack.
Yeah, I'm looking at that scrap at the front there. McIntyre is really closing now. He's got to get it done sooner rather than later if he's going to stand a chance of winning this.
Yeah, he really does. He's got to go for a move very, very soon. Just over 3 minutes left on the clock. You can see Rurik starting to open up a bit of a gap now. 0.7 is the gap from McIntyre to Rurik. It's only 0.3 of a second between McIntyre and Rillig in second place. So he's going to want to try and get past as soon as possible. But again, are the team talking to each other? As Rurik managed to get in front. And he's going to make Rillig defend as much as possible. Again, this nice onboard shot of James Merrills' MSL Porsche. All over the back of Rask's Porsche as well. Mellor's just in front of this as well in the VRRC GT4 AMG. Onto the grass goes Rask. Down the inside, Merrills 3 wide in towards the turn 8 corner. And all managed to get through. Very close action between these three.
Great racing. Oh, there we go. He's done it.
Yep.
McIntyre up into second. Perfect timing.
It was indeed. So, has he left himself enough time, though, to close that gap to Rurik? The gap he's got to close now, 1.2 seconds. 2 minutes left on the clock. But what we saw from race 1 was Rurik all over the back of McIntyre. And was that because he was slightly faster out on circuit and couldn't quite get past? So has McIntyre found some time in that little break and is going to close that gap on Rurik, or has Rurik got this in the bag?
Yeah, he's into the twisty part of the circuit now. I don't think they're gonna... I think they'll get... There's 2 more laps in this, and that's it.
Yeah, 1 minute 16 seconds left on the clock. They'll definitely cross the line this time. And then they have, of course, got the 1 additional lap as well. Dave Marshall there just in the background, not able to close in on this group just yet. But through the penultimate corner, again, all drivers running slightly wide. They've got to watch out for those track limit warnings. Onto the start-finish straight, using all of that track that they can, because no runoff at the final corner. You've just got a barrier.
And that's a great time to put a fastest lap in there by Maxi.
Yes, indeed. 1:54.1. That gap between McIntyre and Rurik. 1.2 seconds now. So slightly opening up.
So yeah, it's the balance of this lap and 1 lap to go.
Indeed. So let's just see what happens. Marcel coming out. Nice stream. Good job. Thank you very much. All the hard work there from Mike from Simply Race there for the stream. As this battle still 14th or 13th, 14th and 15th. James Merrill's in a bit of a sandwich here. Very close. Looks to the outside line. Mellors goes defensive, tries to get the switch back through turn 1, or is he going to try and just hold it round the outside? No. Now he's under pressure from Edmondson, who had a bit of a drama earlier on, managing to get alongside Merrill's. Merrill's with the inside line here, but of course, very easy to hold the speed. Cuts the door, closes the door on Edmondson, holds on to 14th place.
Yeah, he is the Frankfurter in the bun there.
He is indeed. A little bit of contact under braking through the chicane. Edmondson round the outside here. We said it was single file. Edmondson, though, finds a way through, moves up into P14. I don't think James was ready for that one.
I don't think anybody was. That was, oh dear. Oh dear, just put 2 wheels on the grass there and that was it.
Yeah, and I don't think Edmondson was ready for that one. So...
that's for sure.
Yeah, massive disaster then. As soon as Edmondson makes a move, loses a spot straight away. So, again, Mellors under pressure from Merrill's.
Yeah, I think the leaders are just... Yeah, leaders on the final lap now, and it looks like McIntyre, yeah, he's dropped some time there. Maxi, yours to lose, mate.
Is indeed. So Maxi Rurik leading the way by 1.5 seconds. I'm sure McIntyre is still going to be happy with a 2nd place result in this race. Of course, as they head through now, still the main screen on this scrap for P13. Mellors and Merrill's. Oh, Mellors hitting the wall, now under pressure from Merrill's, who goes to the outside, has got a wheel on the grass, forces alongside. Can he get it round the outside into turn 1 on this final lap? No, it doesn't look like he can. And again, under pressure from Scott Thorne. Race winner last week out alongside. Again in the top right-hand corner of your screen, the 650 of Max Rurik. Still leading. McIntyre not close enough behind. 1.6 seconds still the gap between 1st and 2nd as they're heading in towards turn 8 now, the heel section of the track. But on the main screen again, side by side, the 2 AMGs. Scott Thorne going round the outside of Mellors into the inner loop, gets it done, moves up into P13. Merrill's demoted to P15, but are going alongside looking for that P14. Now a bit of side-to-side contact between the two of them. And is that round go?
Good move. Oh dear. Whoops.
Mellors, and that's a disaster. But the race winner for race number 2, flashing the headlights, not for the first time in this race, but Maximilian Ruhrig for the Adrenaline E Motorsports BMW team crossing the line. Jack McIntyre will take second place for 10 tenths, and Harry Ormerod holding on to third place as well from starting on the second row of the grid. Here's Andy Dorman, 8th place. Is going to be crossing just behind Rob Butler in the AMG, just in front, 7th place. Good result for Mercedes. Rich Hayden with a good result, 9th place from the front row of the grid. In the number 1 Ford Mustang is Rask again, had a close race earlier on, under pressure. Holding on to that one though, taking 12th place with a good exit out of the final corner. Scott Thorne as well, gaining those extra couple of positions, moving up into P13. And James Merrill's as well. Oh no, Andy Mellors going off the track again. Looks like looks like a broken front right suspension there, crabbing furiously. Yeah, look at that. You've got the steering full to the left and it's barely turning.
Oops. James Merrill's committed as ever. Great racing again, and it'll be interesting to see what the VRRC do about this round with that technical issue. And it's not for me to surmise, but just to enjoy. I think my driver of the day, mentioned him a lot, was Jack McIntyre. First race, brilliant defence. Second race, great charge through the pack. Can't take it away from Maxi Rohrig though. Great win. Oops.
That's one of the Camaros. This is Luke Whitehead trying to get through, 19th place. And just finishing at the end of his lap as well. So, an interesting development then. There's the race results, which don't look correct, because Rob Butler didn't win.
Well, Rob Butler would love that.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure if Rob sees that, he'll take a picture of it and we'll say, "Yep, that was me." That looks more like the race results. Maximilian Ruhrig then takes the race 2 victory.
BMW domination.
Indeed, yes. The only other BMW that is out there is Paul Laramie in 10th place. But it's BMW 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 though. So an interesting race for race number 2, but still very close at the front.
Hello.
Quickly return.
Hello, can I butt in and tell you what we've decided to do?
Hello, Rich.
So Rich has joined us here. Rich, yes, what can you tell us?
Hello. So, having run that race, obviously we had a major server malfunction, which has meant that we had to start that race with a random grid, and not really fair compared to the qualifying times. So the decision made is to null and void this week, and we will repeat this round next week.
Ah, interesting. So, Watkins Glen again it is next week out then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the fairest thing to do for everybody involved. Obviously, some people have gained by that second race, but a lot of people haven't as well. And I think the fairest thing to do is repeat it.
Rich, I've got a picture of your pole position, so don't worry about that. I'll save it for you, mate.
Awesome, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. So once again, apologies to anybody that's been watching the stream. Unfortunately, we had a major server malfunction. Everybody got kicked out, and then hence we've just run a random grid race, and the decision is to repeat this round next week.
All right then. So interesting development. So in theory, a very eager practice session for all the drivers ready for next week.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's hope everybody's a little bit better at this circuit and there's a little less argy-bargy next week.
Definitely so. Well, thank you very much, Rich, for letting us know. And of course, that's again, we would usually talk to our drivers at this point, but of course, with no results that we saw out there for this round, with it being null and void, it will have to be all eyes on next week. Right then, so, well, that's a rather large development. Of course, there was still lots of supports out for the Adrenaline e-motorsport team for that one. So no championship points after this race. The standings will stay the same. They'll effectively, like you say, Control-Alt-Delete this round, and we will copy and paste it and get ready for next week, I think, is good terminology for this one.
Yeah, it was a good testing session.
Yes, yeah. High profile testing session, I think, is a good way of putting it. But no, excellent stuff. Well, of course, despite the issues, the next round is now again Watkins Glen. So we'll sign off with that one. Then if you do want to know more about the championship and you do want to get involved, do head over to the VRRC website, join the Discord, which is of course free to do. And then if you do want to be part of the championships, have a look at all the information on there, which you can do. A massive thanks to MSL Motorsport Consultancy for supporting the series, and there is some of the prizes that are up for grabs for the first place prize and so forth. And of course, Indianapolis was supposed to be the next round on the 29th of September. No more, though. It will be a repeat of Watkins Glen with the same format: a race 1, race 2, a full reverse grid for race 2. The success ballast, of course, carrying over from the championship points. So a massive thank you from yourself, Martin, for joining me tonight. It's been great to have you.
Yeah, pleasure as always.
And yes, we shall sign off for there. Huge thanks again to MSL Simply Race for the stream, Mike there working his way, and of course for the Virtual Reality Racing Club for organising the GT4 eSeries Championship. But from myself, Anthony Jordan, and from Martin Jones, we shall see you next week. Have a lovely evening.
Between the two of them, the insider coats, Park gets too heavily involved, and that's white head and coats.